Have you ever looked at your paycheck and just wondered what really decides this number? Well, it's not just about how hard you work. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the two invisible forces that truly determine your salary. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's kick things off with what I like to call the salary mystery. You know, the huge, sometimes confusing differences in what people get paid.
I mean, really think about it for a second. We've all seen it, right? Someone in one job is working their tail off, doing something super important, but for pretty modest pay. And then you've got someone in another field putting in a similar amount of effort who's making an absolute fortune. So what's the deal? Is it about how hard the job is? How important it is to society? Well, it's actually not that simple.
Here's the thing. Your salary isn't really a reward for your effort or a grade on how valuable you are as a person. Nope. It's the outcome of this constant, invisible tug-of-war happening behind the scenes in every single job market. To make this super simple, think of it like concert tickets. Imagine your favorite superstar announces just one single show in your city. You've got thousands of fans scrambling for only a handful of tickets. What happens? The price goes through the roof, right? But what about a local band playing at a bar with plenty of space? The tickets are going to be cheap. It's all about availability versus desire. And believe it or not, the job market works on that exact same principle.
So let's properly introduce the two main players in this whole economic story. You've got the workers on one side and the jobs on the other. First up, we have what's called workforce supply. This is really just a fancy way of saying it's the number of people out there who have the skills, the qualifications, and are actually willing to do a specific job. It's the talent pool.
And on the other side of that coin, you've got workforce demand. This is all about the employers. It's the total number of open positions that companies are trying to hire for. You can think of it as the market's hunger for that talent pool we just talked about.
So you've got this fundamental showdown, right? The number of available workers going up against the number of available jobs. Your salary, it's decided right in the middle of that clash.
So how does this collision, this interaction between the talent pool and the market's needs actually set your paycheck? Well, this is what we call the Great Balancing Act.
Economists have a term for this. They call it the equilibrium point. It's basically the sweet spot. It's the wage where there are just enough companies willing to hire someone and just enough people willing to take that job for that amount. It's the market price for a skill. And just like the price of anything else, it can go up or down, depending on that balance.
Okay, this slide right here, this boils the whole thing down perfectly. Look at that first bar. When demand from companies is high, but the supply of workers is low, wages go way up. Now look at the second one. When demand is low, but there's a huge supply of workers, those wages get pushed way down. That's it. That is the core logic of the entire job market.
Let's dig into that first scenario. When there are way more open jobs than there are qualified people to fill them, companies have no choice. They have to fight over that small talent pool. They start offering higher salaries, better benefits, all the perks, anything to attract the best candidates. In this kind of market, you, the worker, hold the power. But what happens when the tables turn? If there are tons of qualified people, but only a few available jobs, the power shifts completely. Now, it's the workers who are competing against each other. Employers can pick and choose, and they feel zero pressure to offer high pay because, well, they know someone will eventually take the job.
Okay, so theory is one thing, but this stuff plays out in the real world every single day. Let's look at a couple of real-world situations you'll definitely recognize to see how this all works.
All right, scenario number one. Let's talk about a classic tech boom. Think about the recent explosion in something like artificial intelligence. All of a sudden, hundreds, maybe thousands of companies all desperately need AI engineers at the exact same time. That's a massive, sudden spike in demand. But how many people on Earth actually have those super specialized skills? Not many. That's an incredibly low supply. And what's the result? You get a full-blown bidding war for talent. Salaries, bonuses, stock options, they all go to absolutely astronomical levels. It's the perfect storm of high demand and low supply. Now let's flip it and look at the opposite situation, something that unfortunately a lot of us have seen or even experienced firsthand, a big economic recession.
When a recession hits, companies get nervous. They slam the brakes on hiring. They might even start laying people off. That means the demand for workers just plummets. At the very same time, you have more people out of a job, all looking for work, so the supply of available workers shoots way up. The balance just tips completely, and you get this fierce competition for every single job opening, and wages pretty much flatline.
So,
Here's the most important part. This isn't just some abstract economics lesson, okay? This is a practical toolkit that you can actually use to build and navigate your career.
Knowing this stuff lets you look at your own field and ask, is demand high right now? Is supply low? It helps you focus on developing skills that are rare and in demand, making you a scarce resource. And maybe most importantly, when you walk into a salary negotiation, you're not just asking for what you think you deserve. You are demonstrating your market value, and you've got the data and the logic of supply and demand to back it up. And that's really what this is. When you learn to see the job market through this lens of supply and demand, you get an incredible advantage. It changes you from just a passive person looking for a job into a strategic architect of your own career. It really is a superpower.
So we'll leave you with this thought. You now get it. You understand the invisible forces that are shaping your paycheck every single day. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it? What's your next move?